Hello and welcome to the SCAD aTV Fest. I'm Mandy Beerley, a senior editor at TV Guide magazine. Today we are joined by the cast of the CBS comedy The Unicorn. Let's give a warm welcome to Walton Goggins.
Woo!
Hello, Rob.
Sorry, it's just me.
Yes!
Wow. Watkins. Yay. Omar Miller. Snaps for Omar. Woo! And Myelin Robinson. Hey, there we go. Thank you all for being here. We will have just seen the episode with the tennis. And before we get into Rob and Michaela's God-given tennis talents, I want to go back to the beginning of the show. Start with you, Walton. I think people who have followed your career through FX dramas and, Quentin Tarantino movies may not have expected a warm, heartfelt network comedy to be your next step, and yet it really is the perfect role for you. So talk to us about what drew you to The Unicorn.
I didn't see it as my next step either, to be quite honest with you. I think at the end of the day, when I read this script by Mike Schiff and Bill Martin and sat down and spoke with them, I just thought that it was a unique opportunity to tell a story about a situation that a number of my friends have personally gone through, and it was a story about loss and about learning how to live again, and for me, as I've maintained from the very beginning, I think those themes are universal, and we lose on a daily basis, whether it's a job or a pet or whatever the things are in our life that they kind of shape like our feelings kind of around loss, and we need the help of our community to kind of move past it. And I thought that if we could tell this story in a grounded way and kind of just change the paradigm a little bit in the ways in which these stories are told, that we could do a lot of good in the world. And it's for me, like I wanted to see if I could do this, to be quite honest with you. I didn't know if I was capable of doing it, and fitting kind of in this format and being relatable to a much larger kind of audience, or to America, being sellable to America, I suppose. And that's where it kind of came from, my interest initially. And it was, I just felt that if we could come from the heart and be as honest as we possibly could, we might put something into the world that we would all be proud of.
And I think casting the show is so key. This is such an ensemble comedy. You're all brilliant in it. I just wanted to run through the connections that I'm aware of, and then we'll kind of see what's missing. I know that Walton and Rob were friends in real life beforehand. Rob and Michaela had obviously worked together before, even playing husband and wife in previous projects. Rob and Omar were both on Ballers. And then when I was doing my IMDb, remember him? When I was doing my little IMDb advanced search, Myelin, I didn't see you overlap with anyone. So I wanted to kind of start there and see how you came to complete this circle of friends.
I came kind of last minute. I think I auditioned on a Friday, booked it on a Saturday, did a unofficial read through with all these wonderful people on a Sunday, and started shooting the pilot on a Monday. So with Walton's blessing, because Walton literally had a hand in handpicking all of us. So
yeah. Well, you missed one. You missed one connection. Omar and I go back to Spike Lee almost 15 years ago, something like that. Yeah, 14 years ago. So we've been friends for a long time as well. Oh, wow. Yeah. And Myelin came in. You know what? It's interesting because you asked that question, Myelin. I'm not answering for you on any level, but all of us do have a connection, with the exception of Myelin. Myelin came in and just blew everybody else away, and I think that's she's earned her spot here more than anyone, and we're so lucky to have her. That was a role that we were having a really hard time finding the right person. And she came in and we all looked at each other and said, yeah, that's the one. There's no questions asked.
Oh, thank you, Walton.
So just hearing that, it's amazing because Myelin and Omar, the two of you basically had to create this chemistry overnight. The characters are married. They have 4 kids. It's so believable instantly. Was there a moment when the two of you knew, like, oh, this is really going to work? We have something here.
No, but I mean, this is part of being a professional. You have to figure out ways to find meeting points. The whole thing is a collaboration and it's a compromise. And so I think that Mylin and I have a very similar outlook on potentially the characters' backgrounds, and we got rooted in that and tried to find the truth in it. And since then, we've just been rocking and rolling. And the people who aren't here, the writers of the show, and the children, the child actors on the show. I just want to go on record and say I'm not really a big fan of child acting professionally, but we have some really talented kids, and they are just really fantastic. And they help us, as the parents of those kids. And the writers make it a lot easier because they write circumstances that, like Walton was saying, are universal. They write emotions and the things that we're dealing with. It's all human. And so I think that helped with forming the chemistry for us immediately and continually.
And can I piggyback on that? It's something that you said in a previous interview, which I agree with as well. Omar and I have mutual friends in this business as well. Really good people. So when you have someone that close in your circle on each side, but you both don't know each other, there's a sense of familiarity and comfort that can naturally occur. Like, oh, okay, you know this person well, and so do I. Okay, cool. And it allows you to bond a little bit easier too. Is that accurate?
I think so, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like an endorsement that happens,
Yeah.
And then just to talk about this episode, Swerve and Volley, which is hilarious. Rob and Michaela, the tennis scenes. I can't even imagine filming them. You had previously told me that you both kind of suspected you had some natural tennis ability, that it left you on the day of. Yes. What was filming those scenes like for the two of you and getting to kind of show those different sides to the characters?
Well, I feel bad that nobody got to see all my tennis skills because they're unparalleled, I think is the word. It's the first word that comes to mind.
I think I'm the only one who might parallel your tennis skills in that we both had, luckily, the same experience level and the same attitude. Yes,
right. We both have no experience,
and we thought we were naturals.
We think we're naturals,
and we weren't.
No.
Well.
Well, let's talk about the scene at the net where the two of you kind of start fighting, and then it turns into like coming on to each other and everyone needs to like bolt to the scene. How much of that was improvisation and how much of that was like on the page whenever you got the script?
Honestly, we do sometimes a bunch of improvisation. Weirdly for this one, I don't feel like we did.
I think that was pretty strictly scripted. I don't think it's great when you have a script and you don't feel like you have to add anything to it. It's such a comfort.
Yeah.
And that was with this, with the unicorn in general. I think when we improvise, it's only really at the end when we've got the scene, and then it's just like, just toss some air balls up and see, if anything might stick.
Do like a fun one.
Yeah. But mostly it's really we stick to the script because there's no reason to go off it.
Yeah, they figured out really how to write for our voices of the characters really well. And the dynamic between the two of us is just so unexpected and funny that what turns these two on is always exciting and silly to me. But it makes me love them more.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think sometimes Delia is a little hard to love. Good night.
How dare you? How dare you?
And for the rest of you watching them film that scene, I'm hoping even in COVID protocols, you still got to actually be there at the tennis court watching. Like, how hard was it not to break character when you're seeing them try to play tennis and then fighting?
I think for me, actually that day we didn't get an opportunity to see a lot of the tennis because it was filmed. We had to get it in a short period of time, and they kind of were on each side of the court, kind of going back and forth. So we just saw, I just saw kind of the ending or like the last bit of those exchanges. And but for me, it's whether it's tennis or whether it's you know, when when Rob or Forrest ate edibles or anything that Michaela Watkins does. I think they would all universally say I'm the first to break. I mean, I laugh when they just say hello to me in the morning. It's like, hey, oh my God, why are you laughing? I didn't say anything.
And
it's hysterical, and I could watch it all day long. And I can't hide it. I'm not good at hiding it.
Even it being so easy to break Walton doesn't take away from my enjoyment of breaking Walton. Like it's low hanging fruit, but it's my air, and it's food for me.
Do you get a lot? You both get a lot out of that break. I mean, the only reason I
love it.
Maybe it's low hanging fruit, but it's also because I can't hold it, and I try to hold it.
You can't do it,
and
you could see it coming. You could see it coming, where Walton just gets a little like, it's not even a smile. It's just something happens to his face, where it's like this. He starts to panic a little bit. He's like.
Also, I don't think I'm giving anything away to say that Walton Goggins as an actor has a certain intensity. And when that intensity
I don't see that
gets breaks, it is truly such a feather in your cap.
Especially when he becomes Jamaican Walter.
No.
When he's Jamaican Wade, it is my favorite man.
Oh, that's true. Cracking up Omar, I would say, is like definitely at the top of like my feel good moments too.
Yeah,
you're a good laugher.
He doesn't crack easy, but Omar doesn't crack. Did you?
No, but when he does.
Yeah.
I can't stop it when it goes.
Were you guys there?
I take pride in being a professional, but I can't stop it when it goes.
Were Omar and Mylin, were you guys there for a lot of the tennis stuff?
A little bit. It was painful. What I saw was painful. The doubles were great, but for Rob and Michaela,
I beg your pardon.
Sorry, that was a different show. Sorry. No, I didn't get to see that much of it, to be honest. I didn't. It was a nice day out. I was actually just sitting outside. I was so happy that we were, I think, what did we have, 4 locations on the entire season this season?
Yeah.
So this time we shot at a park because of, obviously the pandemic and the protocols. This time we shot at a park, and while they were doing the tennis, and it was hot that day, while they were doing the tennis, I was just tanning my cheeks. I was just outside sitting out.
I had his pants down.
Yeah, I was literally tanning my cheeks.
It's true. They did get the most of the bulk of our tennis stuff without making them have to suffer through it. So then we turned around on them and came back in, and basically Rob and I just ran around and just showed them where their eye lines would be, I think.
I did get a pickup game with Michaela, tennis, little volley, kind of back and forth, and she was she's horrible. She's a horrible tennis player. I mean, and I'm not great. I mean, I'm okay. I can get it over the net and everything, but she's horrible.
Better than me. Yeah.
Well, before we move on from this, Michaela, I want to go back to you, because when I talked with you and Rob for TV Guide magazine recently, Rob let it slip that you do an amazing impression of Walton. Not to put you on the spot, but can we see that?
Why on earth would I do an impression of Walton when he's sitting right here?
Because you do it at work.
Watch this. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna put these out.
She does it all the time at work.
Listen. Here's the thing. No, I can't. I won't do it. No, I only. I only do it if you're not around to give people the experience of being around you.
And it's amazing.
Because it's being around Walton is a really unique and wonderful experience. And I'm not saying this. Hey, I'm not saying this because I just feel like saying nice things about him. I'm saying I have genuinely never met anybody like this guy in my whole life. And I love him.
Okay, there you go. I was like, tap that.
I
tap that.
Love him. He's a good man, but man, is he fun to imitate.
Well, let's talk about
low-hanging fruit. Yeah. Say again.
let's talk about the scene with Grace in this episode. Whenever everyone's taking a turn helping her learn how to drive, she confesses that she feels like she's being asked to grow up a little bit too quickly with the death of her mother, with everything else. You kind of, Omar, touched on, I mean, just working with these kids, they're so amazing. What is it like for you to film those kinds of scenes with her and really bring that heart out in the show?
You know, I love it. I love her so much, Ruby J, and Mackenzie. Ruby's like she's just this little, she's this sponge, and they're both so talented, like raw talent, right? And they've been working for a while. But the thing that I love so much about working with both of them, but you talk about Ruby, so I'll just talk about Ruby right now, is her desire to understand what she's asking herself to do in a deeper way, right? For it to kind of resonate in a deeper way, and the things that we talk about when nobody's around, and she trusts me, and we're able to kind of pull her aside, and we have these conversations. They all kind of center around, look, don't give me the lines, yeah, you can do the lines and you can do them and you're believable. So what? That's boring. I want to see you feel it. What's really going on with you right now? And in those moments, she's just now, 31 episodes into this, she just takes the ball and runs with it. And I've gotten an opportunity. She's asked me, like, it was really nice. She asked me to work on a couple of auditions that she had, or an audition that she had that was pretty important. It was a dramatic role, and we took like 2.5 hours on a Saturday, and just kind of worked through it. And to see her mind, the way that it works, and the way that she's growing as an artist. I think for all of us, like as the adults on this show, to see these young actors kind of grow is. It's not just an ancillary benefit. It really is a reason to do it. It's really something to watch. And I just have such a good time with her. She's so spot on, and the tender moments of the show is really, that's what I live for. I don't get an opportunity to be as funny as everybody else, and I don't need to be, because, we got Michaela and Rob and Maya Lynn and Omar. If I can just, bring the heart and just kind of find that center place and hold that center, then that's really kind of what I'm doing for this for, and I love it.
Yeah. And Omar,
you're funny.
I wanted to go to a couple questions that we have from the SCAD audience, and this one is for Omar, and I think Maya Lynn as well, especially. They're asking if you can talk a little bit more about the balance of tone needed in this series. Is there an instinct to the balance when tackling serious issues in a comedy? And I think that leads a lot into the episode we saw this year, which was really amazing, the one where Forrest gets their son Noah the water gun, and they have to immediately take it away from him. Can you talk about how that storyline came about, and just how you approach an episode like that's going to have such a deep impact?
Hey, ma'am.
Go first.
Ladies first.
I know that I personally went to the writers this summer, and at the heart of the Black Lives Matter movement, and I said, I want us to address it. I want us to, we are a Black family on this show. And besides my sister, played by Nicole Byer, we don't really see anyone else outside of it. So outside of being African-American. So how can we safely write a project that tackles race? And I think that Rob and Omar, that's why I wanted you to go first. I think Rob and Omar came together and presented an idea to them. Is that correct?
No. Rob and I, you were on the Zoom. We were all when we got picked up, we found out we were making another season. And obviously it was also in the middle of the pandemic and towards the early side. And George Floyd had just been murdered. And you could feel the sea change in the country, that there was, something happening. And I think that all of us as humans, not even just as artists, but all of us as humans feel the need. And that's why watching this man be executed slowly and watching the life drain out of him was so incredibly effective at creating emotion and evoking the pain of that. And I think that's for just about everybody who saw that in the world, which is why it really gave a spark to the movement. And one of the things that we talked about when we got on with the writers, all of us, were different ideas that we wanted to cover. And Rob and I both offered that, hey, we're in the middle of two movements that are once in a lifetime type movements: the sea change on race in America and the global pandemic. And it was decided that the show wanted to be a bit of an escape from somewhat dark reality of the pandemic, but they were willing to tackle this race issue to a certain degree because it's real and it's a part of what we do on the Unicorn, which is dealing with real life and dealing with it in real life ways through comedy and through the drama that happens with your friends. The show is about the family that you choose, which are your friends. And one of the writers, Howard Jordan Jr., had this idea in mind, and I guess he just had it loaded and was kind of hesitant to bring it out. And when we brought it out on the Zoom with the producers and the writers, he jumped right in and was like, well, you know what, I have an idea. And he threw it out there, and both Rob and I were like, wow, that's
we cheerleaded.
Yeah.
That moment on, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, they finessed it, and I was really surprised, I have to be honest. I was really surprised that they put it so early into the season. And that was a bold choice, and I really applaud CBS and I applaud our showrunners for taking that leap, because it ruffled a lot of feathers. So, you know, Mandy, when you talk about how we approach it, I think that for me, I've decided as a person, I don't really have difficult conversations with people that I don't care about. That's just the approach that I take now, because it's not worth it. The difficult conversations are difficult and they're uncomfortable, and I'm going to reserve that part of myself and that part of my life for the people that I care about and that care about me. But when we're dealing with this at large in society, it's such a big issue that it's important to make people uncomfortable through the guise of these characters, and the device was this water gun to open up a conversation. We can't solve all the problems of the world in 30 minutes, but we can make you think, and if we can make you feel, then that's what I feel like is my job as an artist. So that's the approach that I took. And Rob came ready to play.
I mean, I can't say better than that. You know what I'm saying? He did that.
Yeah.
As an observer, I've gotten to see Maya Lin also, because the bulk of my scenes this season have been with Maya Lin, and I've gotten to see Maya Lin really explain to the writers what works, what doesn't work, what feels authentic, what feels genuine. And that's, you know, not easy with like two white guy creators, you know, in their 50s. So like I it's been really stunning and beautiful to watch you, Maya Lin, like take that space. And then, you know, I hopefully, if she feels supported, you know, you felt supported by everybody. Yeah. But that I've just really just been so in awe of it's hard when you're the only Black woman in the cast and you have to somehow speak for all the Black women that are going to be watching the show.
That's two things you're speaking for.
Yeah, I mean, I will definitely say this. This season broke me in a way that was positive from that episode that we're talking about. And I've had really good one-on-one and group conversations with every single cast member, including the children. And it's really kind of, I think for me, Omar, it's brought us a bit closer this season, because we've literally had conversations where we've sat down and been like, okay, these words or these actions or what they've written, us being the Black characters of this show, how is it going to be perceived? How do we want it to be perceived? And like you said, are we in alignment and agreement with that? Which I don't think that I was more aware of last season. I think I became more aware of our race this season, funnily enough. So.
And just to cap it all off, Mandy, I can't, in that and in what everybody said about representation and so on and so forth, it all matters. I can't say enough about Bill and Mike because they're open to collaborate. I can't say enough positive about them. They're open to hear. They're open to collaborate. We got Walton Goggins as our ace up there. He's also a producer that is there to, I joke, but I'm being serious, is he's there from the artistic perspective to recognize how to finesse things, and it matters. You know, when you have somebody that actually has power on set, that actually has skill, and you'd be surprised how many talentless people have power in Hollywood. But when you have someone who has talent and has power, it's a very, very good combination to be, you know, to collaborate with.
Yep.
And
I
just,
will
you know,
second that.
Thank you,
I will second
Walton.
that. Just add very quickly that Walton also has a very good, very diplomatic way and a very kind way of stopping. Let's stop for a second. And it slows down. He slows down. He's like, everybody stop for a minute. Let's think about this. And everybody's not like, oh God. Everybody's like, okay, yes. Something's wrong here. We can fix, you know? And it's very collaborative. And it's just great.
Kind of puts me in the mind of a ball player. Like when you think of athletes, when they talk about the big moment and they say, well, you know, I try to slow the game down. It kind of puts me in the mind of that. It's really interesting.
Oh, we're making sports metaphors.
Yep,
Yes.
Yep. Lost.
No. I know exactly what we're talking about as a ball.
Tennis.
As a tennis ball player.
I'll jump in here really quickly. And I think like, that what it's weird. I mean, you know, I don't know what we set out to do really, you know, beyond tell a story about community, and learning how to live again. I think that's kind of what we started with, you know, but we found ourselves in this place because of this cast, because of these guys, everybody here, and these writers talking about things not from there is no soapbox that we stand on, you know.
No.
It is just a celebration of small lessons learned or small victories in the lives of these people and the children that are not here today, and those victories are infinitely relatable to the people that watch this show, because life is not a series of kind of tentpole experiences, you know. I mean, you have like life-changing moments how many times in a decade, you know, but you do have moments every single day that permanently alter who you become as a human being, and that's really what this show has become. We've been able to carve this little niche for ourselves where we're able to talk about, whether it's in a relationship that I have with Shannon on the show, Natalie Z, and what that's like to choose her happiness over your own, like, or there's a medical condition that kind of comes up for the guys here on the call, and we're able to talk about these things, or Rob losing a job, or anything that has happened to Delia. We're able to deal with these issues that we all, I mean, it's not gender specific, it's not race specific, it's not religion specific. You all have to have the conversation with your kid, you know, like you got to have a conversation with your friend, and you're all going to feel shame and embarrassment, and you know, you may not be as naive as Wade about some things, but you know, chances are you are about other things, and these universal kind of things that we kind of talk about, because they're specific, are relatable, you know, and I think that's kind of where we are. We've hit our sweet spot this second season.
Yeah. And before we wrap up, we just have a couple of minutes left. I wanted to ask everyone for something that you'd still love to see happen for your character. You know, talking with Rob for TV Guide, Rob, you had told me that you would love to see Forrest's two moms, which I would love to see as well. Do you have any dream casting in mind?
I mean, look, we've been setting that. That's been a gun. Like, you show the gun, Chekhov's law or whatever. You show the gun in Act 1. It's got to go off in Act 2. So they've shown that gun a lot. This two mom gun. Any ideas about casting? No. I don't know. I don't know. There's so many. I mean, God, there's so many wonderful actresses that could. It's I don't know. It's too much of a candy store. It's a, you know, I can't pick. I can't choose. Okay. I need more time.
Well, Michaela,
okay, Rob.
Anything for Delia?
We do set up Delia's mom pretty vividly in one of the episodes, and but we haven't met her, and I jokingly said, because my favorite show of all time, well, my favorite TV show of all time is Taxi, but my second favorite show of all time is Cheers. So I joked that maybe my mother could be played by Shelley Long or Mary Lou Henner. Either or.
Nice. I like it.
Let's
Put it out in the universe. That's good. Omar, something for Ben that you'd like to see?
No, actually, I think he's ready to wrap him up. No, in all honesty, it's gonna sound cheesy, but I like being surprised. It's not my show. I don't write the show. And the only reason that I even felt the need to speak up on the episode about the water gun potentially is because of the massive magnitude of what's going on in society. So beyond that, I actually have faith in our writers. They'll keep throwing stuff my way that I can interpret and express. And I'm good with that, whatever they come up with.
And Maya Lynn, obviously we saw Michelle go back to college this season. Is there anything else that you would like to see down the road for her?
I guess I'd like to see Michelle try to do like a final or a paper on a deadline. But then I'd also like to see Michelle learn a lesson from her children.
Ooh,
I feel like I've seen Michelle learn lessons from the Felton children, but I like to see her learn a lesson from her children.
I like that one. That's good.
Yeah.
And Walton will end with Wade. I think those probably a lot of people watching are clued into the industry. They know that Natalie Z has herself a little drama show coming up, which makes me worried for Shannon's future in that relationship. But what are you hoping to see for Wade?
Without thinking about it too much, without kind of planning it, I hope that for however long we get to tell this story, if this is it, or if it's 5 years down the road, that all of us, wherever we end, whether Wade has an opportunity to fall in love again, or whether it's the one, or whether he gets married, or we end it with his kids kind of going off to college, or Devin, who is the actor that plays Maya Lynn and Omar's one of Omar's children, that wherever he is, that we all fulfill this journey on a weekly basis, and with authenticity and real live lessons. I don't have an end goal. There's no because life continues, doesn't it? Past the stories that we kind of tell here on this Zoom call, life just goes on. And so I think for our show, no matter kind of where we end, I just hope that we continue to kind of push the boundaries of these insights into, the daily victories that we all kind of share, and lessons that we have to learn.
Rob,
I will add one thing. It's so boring.
I will add one thing to that, is that we shot the final episode of the season already, just finished it. And they are loading up an amazing season 3. Like, they are really putting the chess pieces where they want them, and it's awesome. It's all
for
Wade,
fun. For Wade's character specifically.
For all of us, I think.
All of us.
Come on.
Oh,
okay.
all of us.
Come on. Maybe
for all of us.
I want to talk about
for everybody.
I want to talk about really? I want to talk about for Wade's character. I think we leave Wade off in season 2 in a very unexpected location.
Yes.
Emotionally.
True.
You too.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
me too. Yeah, you're right.
Too.
Now that I think about it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And Ben as well. Omar as well. Ben as well.
Yeah.
Okay, now
Not me. I'm the one you can count on.
Yeah, big, lovable dum-dum.
I think that is the perfect place to end, calling Rob a lovable dum-dum.
Jeez.
Thank you all for taking the time today. This has been a wonderful conversation. And I hope everyone keeps enjoying the SCAD aTV Fest. We will see you soon.
Thank you,
Mandy.
Bye.
When do we get to ride ATVs? There was no ATV. There was no ATV riding whatsoever.